It's time for Bring Your Own Lunch, a podcast for your whole face, with your host, Dave T. Koenig.
All right, come on in, have a seat, welcome. This is the Bring Your Own Lunch podcast at bringyourownlunch.com, the magic of iTunes, the majesty of Stitcher, and however else you found your way to this program. As you heard at the top, my name is Dave T. Koenig. I'm an actor, writer, director, producer, comedian, swell dude, and the host of the podcast you're listening to right now, BYOL, and I appreciate the fact that you did, whether or not you are finding this for the first time or you are somebody who has been with us from the beginning. I don't care. I'm just glad you are here, and really have been appreciating all of the support and the spreading the word that's been done so far. And as we build this thing into something a little bit bigger, I'm glad you're along for the ride. My guest this week is Sean Kenin. He's a friend of mine and fellow working actor who has pulled off a pretty neat trick. As you may know, actors sometimes have what they call survival jobs. Those are jobs that you do outside of acting to help pay the bills. One of the biggest challenges of this career is that you don't know necessarily that you are going to make enough money to pay the bills. And for the vast majority of people who try this as a career, they never do. So for many, you have to find alternate ways to bring in income. And some get those typical survival jobs like the cliche waiter job that an actor might get. And the reason that a lot of actors end up being waiters is that the work is usually at night if you are a wait person. And that doesn't conflict with stuff during the day where a lot of auditions happen. So that's why you see that. And usually those jobs are kind of along those lines, like a wait person or working in a store or something like that. Something that's fairly easy and doesn't require a lot of focus or attention. You could do it, do your job, move on. And that's what most people consider to be a survival job. Sean, on the other hand, has not only developed himself into a very, 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 very good actor and voiceover artist especially. He is also the co-owner and co-founder of Hyperbolic Audio, which is a major recording studio in New York City. They do a ton of work with television and film and commercials, and basically they provide the studios and the equipment for productions to use to record whatever audio they might need for that project. And they work with some major clients. Sean will tell us all about that during our interview. So he's got this career as this voiceover artist. He's worked on the Smurfs films and a ton of other projects. And actually, he's got a couple big ones coming up. Again, part of the interview. So listen to him tell you. It's better to him than me. But he's also a very, very busy guy running and owning and co-founding this studio that has a great little start, and the story of it becoming this big studio is really, really impressive. So I'm really happy to have Sean on. And given the fact that he has these dual careers that are equally fascinating, it ended up being the very first two-part interview I do on this podcast. So week one is this week. We'll play the first half of the interview with Sean, and then next week we will play the other half. And the beginning of his career is covered in the first half, and some other stuff that we get into. We actually cover a lot of ground in these interviews, and it's all very fun and entertaining, and Sean's really cool to listen to. And then his more recent stuff will be next week. And all of it, I think ended up being a very fun conversation, and he's got a lot of experience, and he's got a lot of knowledge that he passes along throughout the 2 hours that we sat together. So I think you'll find this one to be a really good one. As for me, work-wise, this past Friday night, I had the great honor and pleasure to play a role on the show Alpha House. And if you're not familiar with Alpha House, it's a show that's available exclusively through Amazon Prime. It's sort of like how Netflix has their exclusive shows like Orange is the New Black or House of Cards. Alpha House is one of Amazon Prime's exclusive properties. It's a show that stars John Goodman and Mark Consuelos and Clark Johnson and Matt Malloy and a host of others. Haley Joel Osment is in it, and one of my favorite, Amy Sedaris, she's also got one of the regular characters in that one too. And if you're a fan of House of Cards on Netflix, this is sort of the comedic counterpoint to House of Cards. So I was able to play a part on Alpha House the other night. It was an overnight shoot. It was a lot of fun. It was directed by Andrew McCarthy, who you might remember from Pretty in Pink and being a member of the Rat Pack and St. Elmo's Fire and things like that. Now he's got a fairly successful career as a director, and he was super nice. There was a lot of moving parts. This is kind of the first time I've been involved in a production where, as somebody who is what they call a principal actor, I was surrounded by what they call background actors. So just to explain, the hierarchy of a set in television, let's say, you have your series regulars. Those are the stars of the show. Then you have the people who were there as recurring characters. They may pop in and out. Then you have your guest stars. They have bigger parts in the show, but they are not necessarily regulars in the cast. And then you have co-stars, which have a smaller part to play in it. And then you have background actors. And that's pretty much the definition of each of those, how those roles are defined. I particularly was playing a character who was a constituent of a senator who is a Tea Party member and very much a gun supporter. So I was supporting her. And my role was considered a co-star. All those roles are defined by our union status. So I might say I co-starred in Alpha House, but it's really just a distinction that's more paperwork than anything else, and kind of tells them how much how your pay for the show is determined by the status of the role you play. I'm gonna take some water. Foley. Anyway. So I played the constituent, and like I said, there was a lot of moving parts. It was we were in a office or a building in New York, posing as Washington D.C., and there were tons of background actors. Now, background actors are really important to any scene. They set the template for where we are. They provide substance to the situation and the scene. Without that, you're playing in an empty room with just a couple of actors. But when you add in the background actors, it looks like it all comes to life. And it's not like they just go somewhere where there's a lot of people and they just shoot the actors in front of them. They hire each and every one of those background actors, and they give them very specific things to do. And they do it. And a lot of them work really, really hard. And the ones I worked with were super, super nice. And I give them a ton of credit because it can be a very difficult job. I didn't do anything all that differently from what a background actor would do, but I was treated a little bit differently because I had the co-star distinction to my job. And background actors, they put in a lot of hard hours, and they don't get quite the same perks that you do when you're there as a principal actor. So I give them a ton of credit. Now, having said that, I did notice there was one guy, and part of the thing of having a podcast is sort of I get a little bit of a soapbox, and I don't want to get too crazy with it, but it's a chance for me to sort of educate anybody who's listening to this who is a new actor and who may take a background role on a show or a film or in a commercial for that matter. And it's a chance to kind of tell you, hey, don't be like this guy. Because while they have a very hard job to do and they aren't necessarily treated like superstars when they're there, to put it lightly, they are there to do a job. More water. They are there to do a job, and they are there to, they get paid. So, and you never know where it's going to go. So you may end up being a principal, even if you show up to be background, because they need somebody to say a line here or there, and you fit the part. And right there and there is the best place to grab somebody instead of going to call and see if somebody knows somebody who can come and show up on set at moment's notice. They will pull from the collection of background actors. So going there, it's best to be professional no matter what job you have. And like I said, we had an overnight shoot in this government building in New York downtown, and there was one guy who was a background actor. He was dressed. My guess is that he was playing a background senator or a congressman or something like that. And this scene was filled with people who looked exactly like politicians. It was pretty impressive work by whoever cast the background people. They looked amazing. I could swear Lloyd Benson was one of the background actors, but I digress. There was one guy there who just looked like he had no interest in being there. And there's a lot of sitting and waiting. I mean, the business of making movies and TV, a lot of sit around and waiting. You know, that's what we do a lot of the time. But when you're on set, you got to be there. You got to be present. You got to be ready to go. And everybody was ready to go. But here was this guy wandering around behind me on his phone. And this wasn't like a little conversation. This wasn't like, yeah, no, we're going to be here late. Goodbye. This was like, this guy was on phone with a guy who he was best friends with when he was 12 and suddenly reconnected with right then and there at this shoot in this government building for a television show. And he's like whooping it up. And he's like walking away from where everybody is on the phone. He's like gesticulating with his arms, and I just didn't get it. And to top it all off, when this was happening, it was 1 a.m. Who was he even talking to at 1 a.m? Why can't you have that conversation tomorrow? So my suggestion to you is, no matter what role you have on any production, have fun, enjoy it, live it up, learn as much as you can, but be professional. Be ready to go. Don't delay things. Don't make it harder for anybody else. And you just never know. You know, there's people I met who I thought were really cool in a variety of different roles when I did that show the other night. And who knows, you know, maybe I'll be in a position to hire somebody someday. But if I see that dude, you know, in his headshot someday, I want to be like, yeah, that was the dude who just wouldn't shut up on the phone when we did Alpha House. And you know what? I wouldn't hire that guy. Don't you want to be the guy they want to hire? Or woman? Or dog? That's how I see it. Want to make sure we say thank you to a lot of people. Of course, Banuba, providing the music for BYOL. Go to banuba.net, find out where they will be. They got some gigs coming up. Check that out, and you can also download their music. The New York Short Film Shootout. We do have a new website, NYSFSO. That's short for New York Short Film Shootout, if you're not good with acronyms. You can go to nysfso.com, find out when our next event will be, but I'll tell you right now, it's August 25th, Monday night, 8 p.m. We're going to show another list of fine films. Right now, we're in the open submission process, so if you have a film and you're not listening to this in 2016, you can send your submission to submissions at NYSFSO. I have to get used to the acronym. NYSFSO.com. Submissions at NYSFSO.com. There it is. And if you have a film that's 15 minutes or less, we will take a look, and it may be part of the next short film shootout. So good luck to you. And This Theater will be the host. Thistheater.com. And again, they're going to have a new name sometime soon. I don't know the latest on that, but go to thistheater.com and it'll tell you where that is. So support that theater. And I just heard the other day that my good friend Anthony Kingdom James Rutgazer, he actually has more names than any human being really needs right now. Anthony / Kingdom. I always call him Kingdom because I met him when I was involved in the pro wrestling industry. And he's from Toronto, and he's a Renaissance man in many ways. He was a pro wrestler, pro wrestling promoter, strip club DJ. He has recently written a new comic book called The First Hero that has been released through Action Lab. And he's gotten some really good write-ups for it. Do check that out. But he's got his podcast coming back, The Handsome Genius Club Radio Show, hosted by Anthony Rutgazer, a.k.a. Kingdom James. That's coming back. His first guest out of the box with his return is pro wrestler Michael Elgin, who is the ROH World Heavyweight Champion, so not too bad there. But check him out. Go to handsomegeniusclub.com, and he will be uploading very, 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 very soon. All right, let's get into our interview with Sean Kenin, Part 1, and hear how he's Batman. The idea that you now have in front of me a platter...
Nice.
With crackers and some cheese and some salami and grapes really puts this exact podcast in a new stratosphere, man.
Well, I'll tell you, it's as weird for me as it is for you, because I am one of those people who, as I experience life, it still amazes me. Like, I was just in Times Square getting Nucha's empanada, as I was saying, and as I was walking through Times Square, just the people and the lights and the advertising and the Blade Runner-esque, scenery, it still amazes me. And I've lived here for, 22, 23 years. It still is something that I am just flabbergasted by. Like, I'm originally from Indiana, so it's like, I'm still amazed that I live here.
I don't blame you, and sincerely, I hope on some level we never lose that sort of childlike wonder at what's going on around us, because what's going on around us is incredible.
It's kind of amazing.
I mean, we can just zap anything we want to our phones at a moment's notice, and there is no delay. That's insanity.
It's so nuts. I did a FaceTime call with my parents, and years ago I did. I'm a huge Disney fan from being a kid, and going to Epcot Center, and when you go through Spaceship Earth, there's this kind of sort of fantastic sort of family that sort of guides you, or maybe it's the Journey to the Future. Who knows?
The thing on the rotunda where the audience goes around, but the stage is
and also the family's talking about the future and what the future will bring.
We just went there last year, so it's totally yeah.
And there's this fantastic area where everything smells like oranges because you're in an orange grove, right. And there's kids talking to grandparents, and the grandparents have been narrating the whole thing, and they're on this video phone. And this is back in the 80s, so of course, it was like, video phone, what?
Yeah, you're crazy. No one will ever do that.
Impossible. And yet I was doing a video with my kids and my parents, on my iPhone that's in my pocket.
Yeah, it makes all the imagination stuff that so many people had in the 80s just seem ridiculous. It's funny you mention that, because the other night I watched Running Man. And Running Man probably is the least accurate vision of the future ever.
Right.
Because there's nothing futuristic in Running Man that actually looks like it belongs in the future that we know now.
Right.
It's like they went backwards.
Right. It's almost like Back to the Future version of the future. Right?
Yeah,
it's 2015 hoverboards. I'm fully expecting that to happen, by the way.
At some point,
I think that's going to be a thing.
No, I'm pretty sure we're not going to have is time travel. Because my theory is, if time travel exists, we would know it by now, because you would think of time on a nonlinear basis.
Right.
It's all happening at the same time, and therefore, what's happening 3,000 years in the future, let's say they invent time travel, is basically now. And if they do, in fact, make time travel in the year 3,000 years from now,
right,
it will most likely exist from that point forward, unless somehow civilization gets wiped out.
Sure.
So the idea that everybody from that point forward should never, ever, ever, ever use it to come back to now is impossible to imagine.
No, of course. There was actually an article, I think in the Huffington Post or something, because they have the best articles, both for really real news and crap.
Yeah, let's throw them a plug. What the hell?
Exactly. Yeah. But they had this thing about CERN. Something about the hydro collider or the hadron collider in CERN.
Yeah.
If time travel was going to happen into the past, that was going to be the moment that it was going to be possible. So we were all going to find out at that point if time travel is possible. So once they turn that thing on, when they flip the switch, it's like, no.
Yeah, time travel's not happening. Sorry. That seems like a movie.
Right, exactly.
That seems like a movie where it's like, this is the moment where we find out if time travel's going to happen. Nah, it didn't happen.
We built the time travel device, but it didn't do
And if
anything.
it was a modern American movie, it would be like, in the last 15 minutes, there would be time travel.
Right.
And everybody would be happy.
And Arnold Schwarzenegger would be there, and everybody.
In very tight-fitting clothing.
Right, exactly. He's naked.
Yeah.
And killing
So, Sean, hi.
Hi, hello.
I love those starts that don't actually have a start, and we just it's more fun that way, I think.
Yeah,
but I do want to like properly introduce you. But you have a couple of you're sort of like Batman in that you have a couple of personas
and a ward.
And a ward, yeah,
ward.
A youthful ward who you make wear panties in public.
Well, and I just keep him in the corner of my
and
office.
winged boots.
So many wrong impressions of me in one moment.
Yeah, let's destroy your whole reputation as quickly as possible. No, so all right. So if you look you up on IMDb, your name is
Sean Kenin.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Now we're sitting in one of the studios. At Hyperbolic Audio.
Very well.
Yeah, that sounded professional.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you go on your website and tell me if I'm off base here, the name that people might find you as there is
Sean Elias Reyes.
All right, so let's talk about that. Is it cool if we talk about that?
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay, good. Because it's fascinating to me that professionally, you have gotten to a point in your career where you have an established name in two sort of different facets of the same industry under two different names.
Right.
Tell me what that's all about.
Well, mild-mannered Sean Elias Reyes is a reporter for the Daily Bugle. No, ultimately, my father is from El Salvador. Mm-hmm. But I grew up in Indiana, and I don't speak a word of English. And because my mother is Irish,
you didn't speak a word of English.
I mean, not a word of English.
Okay, I was like, wow, man, that's a story.
And my accent is impeccable. No, sorry, not a word of Spanish.
Okay,
I don't speak a word of Spanish, and because my mother is everything white, we never spoke Spanish in the home, and so you have. A kid who was brought up in the Midwest who has this incredibly Hispanic last name.
Yeah.
Coming to New York and, trying to make it. And everybody wants to cast you as either the doorman or the busboy or the, and basically they would see the last name and they would cast me as these Hispanic characters. And then fast forward to 2001, and I meet who is to be my future wife, and we get engaged. And I say, "Hey, listen, do you mind the idea of me using your last name as my stage name?" And so her name was Rahana Kenin. And I
assume still is, right?
It's still it's actually.
Oh, actually, no. You guys traded.
No, yeah, we traded. But she uses Kenin professionally because now I have somewhat of a reputation, I guess, professionally.
Enough, yeah.
And so, so the whole family actually, because my kids, and we can talk about this later, but my kids also do voiceover and acting, and so they are also Kenin as well.
Which is it's very cool. I mean, it's very unique.
So, and it's great, but it also satisfies that sort of like Superman, sort of Clark Kent thing.
Yeah.
Of being, I always felt like I needed a plosive or a fricative in my name.
I know, I totally understand because I have the T in my name,
right?
And it's like I needed that.
Yeah,
or else you get too many
Koenig.
Koenig.
Yeah, Koenig, exactly. Yeah. And like for me, it was Sean Elias Reyes, and it sounds very nice, rolling off the tongue. But like in a world of Tom Hanks and Tom Cruise and like all these like
and that's
names.
what we grew up with.
Exactly.
We were kind of told if you're going to be a star, you got to have a star name.
A star name, exactly.
And a good American star name.
Exactly.
John Wayne.
And so I meet meet my wife, and she's Jewish, and she's got this like basically. I'm sure back in the old world, the name was something completely different, but it got anglicized as Kenin, which sounds very Irish.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, the funniest thing was the first week that I decided to use this last name, I went to an actor's seminar at one of these, actors' places that you go to meet agents and casting directors and really, hope that somebody will hire you. And they said, okay, up next is Sean Kenin. And these casting directors and agents go, Sean Kenin. Ooh, Sean Kenin. I like that name, Sean Kenin. And it just stuck. At that point, I was like, okay, well, obviously, this is the name.
That was a good choice,
This is the one that actually works for me.
Yeah, because they weren't like, get out. Kenin. No.
Ridiculous.
And we don't like your kind here.
Right, exactly.
Where's your wife's relative or her family background goes
Eastern European and Russian Jewish, basically.
So is Kenin when it's or whatever it started as? What I mean, is there specific country or region that might have come from?
Ultimately, I think it's Russian and Eastern European, and it got anglicized.
Okay.
So it might have been a Hanan or something
I
along
see what
those
you're saying.
lines.
Yeah.
You know, and so basically it became this anglicized sort of thing, and everybody mistakes it as Irish, and all the better. I mean, I have this Irish first name and incredibly Latin last name.
Yeah,
so when I
yeah.
put the Irish sounding last name with the first name, it just kind of worked.
Yeah,
and it's funny because, you know, there are some people who change their names who just feel very weird about it, right?
I couldn't have done it. I mean, I had to add the T, but I couldn't. I tried in college. I was on college radio,
Right.
And I gave it a shot. I tried a lot of different types of names,
Right.
besides my own, and I just never felt right.
Right, yeah. And I think in some respects, for me, you know, I like having a secret identity. I'm a huge comic book fan. I am kind of a geeky guy, and I, you know, it's funny because that's actually not weird to actually.
Nowadays, it makes you cool.
It's actually
I'm so mad about
it's
that.
It's the opposite of being counterculture anymore.
I tried so hard to hide my comic book fandom when I was young because I didn't want to get beat up. Now,
Exactly. Now
it's like if you don't know who Batman's third Robin was, you know, you're getting
nerd.
beat up. Yeah,
He's like, exactly.
get him.
After school, you're mine. So yeah, no, it's funny, but yeah, it really satisfies that sort of ability to, you know, I'm someone at home and I'm someone at work, and then when I go out as an actor, I'm somebody else, and that's okay with me. I actually kind of dig it. And some people, you know, have a very like strong attachment to their given name. Like there's an honor, there's a pride that comes with like being who they are, and I feel like that pride comes out with me, with my family, with my friends, and this persona, this name that I have in the business is me. Is like my expression of who I am, right?
And it makes total sense.
It's the character that I play, I guess, in some respects, you know.
Yeah. You know, we can't ever get too attached to our names anyway. Like,
Right.
how many times have you been in some sort of production and they'll refer to you by your character name, almost as if your real name no longer exists?
No, exactly.
So we just get used to it anyway.
And did you have to add the T because there's another David Koenig somewhere? in the business?
That's the major reason I did.
So in some respects, it's like, you know, I mean, it's a brand.
Yes.
Once you enter this business, you become a brand. And so for me, it's like I didn't want my family name to be a brand. I wanted to brand myself in some respect. And
That makes total sense.
You know, and the really funny thing is that my wife has a cousin out in L.A., Dylan Kenin, who is an actor out there. And so when I was doing like, you know, Under Fives on Law and Order, and he was doing Under Fives on 24, I was like, we're like a low rent Baldwin family. It's like, look at us. It's like, ooh, the Kenins.
Although these days,
Right.
you guys probably get more work than the average
Baldwin. Yeah.
Baldwin. Yeah,
Baldwins.
and that's not even their name.
I know, exactly.
Yeah.
Again, it's and the business is rife with it. You know, in some respects, I appreciate people who decide to keep their given name, but you know, it's like I like that I kind of came up with this thing.
I did sort of struggle, and you know, had I had more forethought, and I could have done what you did, because my wife's last name is Hughes, and it would have been almost exactly the same because it's a very Irish name, and it's you know, and you know, I wouldn't have nearly as much butchering of my name as I tend to, because
people say Koenig a lot, as I did.
And it's my whole life.
Heard Koenig
my whole
twice.
life. That's right. You're you are my audience for the podcast, but that's my life. I mean, that's I could say it 15 times to somebody, and they'll still in their head see that OE and go co.
Yeah.
And I understand. I get it. And I guess I try to turn it into a positive by just making it part of a conversation, and maybe they'll remember.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't dwell on it too much.
Is the T like a middle name, or is it a...
No. Whenever anybody asks me, I always say it stands for the. Because my natural born middle initial is A.
Okay.
And it's Dave Koenig, and I thought if it was A, it would just be too many vowel A sounds. Dave, A, K, nang, nang, nang.
Fricative.
And I'm like, it worked for Craig T. Nelson.
Exactly.
I'm going to use the T.
Budding young actors, get a plosive or fricative in your name.
Yeah.
Even if you just gotta like put it in the middle, jam it in the middle of somewhere, like of the word Doug. Just call yourself Tug or Ducug. I don't know.
And if you don't know what a fricative or a plosive is, that's probably good starting point for your budding voiceover career.
Right, exactly.
All right, so I do want to talk about your start in Indiana, but just to explain to people, Hyperbolic. You are as an actor, and you have got a great career going in voiceovers.
Let's hope so.
I would say so, and we'll talk about. And I'll explain why I say that about Sean. But you also are co-owner of this business.
Yeah.
Tell us what this business is.
So this is a recording studio. Hyperbolic Audio is a recording studio. We actually work on a wide range of stuff. Some of our biggest clients are Nickelodeon, DreamWorks, NBC. We do looping for television and film. We do main dialogue record for animation. We do celebrity. A lot of what we do actually lately, which is great, is celebrity ADR records for TV and film.
And for somebody who doesn't know what ADR is, what is that?
It's automatic dialogue recording, and it's
that explains it.
I think, or maybe it's after dub. I don't know.
Yeah,
the actual term is lost somewhere in the annals of movie history. But ultimately, what it comes down to is when something is shot. You may have a couple of lines that don't come across the way you want them to, either by the acting choice or just the set sound wasn't how you wanted it to be, and so you have the celebrity, you have the actor come in and redub that line. Mm-hmm. In animation, it has everything to do with just recording the line the first time, just recording the line so that it can be animated to,
and that is the performance in animation.
Exactly. But when it comes to ADR, that is basically something where you just haven't gotten across what you wanted to get across, or something has to be changed, or something has to be fixed, and so you have the person come in, watch the way they said it, listen to the way they said it, and try to recreate how they said it. They're basically using their own self as a puppet.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, having done it, it is a bizarre thing to do.
It's really hard, especially when it's just you. I kind of started off in this business doing Japanese anime, and so the idea of matching flaps. Now, granted, with Japanese anime, it's just sort of it's almost like a puppet. It's like just an open and close type thing, and you're matching when it's closed and when it's open with the words that are there. But when it's a person, you can see them shaping the word with their mouths, and so at a certain point, when you have said those lines in the moment, in whatever environment you're filming in, to have to come in and then try to recreate that is really bizarre and such a talent in and of itself. I feel like, it's funny, back in the days of like when Hollywood got started, it's like they would have like people, they would do these tests, right? They would do like audio tests. Does the person have a voice? Can they dance? Can they sing? Can they do all these things? Right?
Yeah.
And they would test these people like just everything so that they knew whatever the situation they put them in, they'd be good. And that's when they had contract players, and that's when they would weirdly put somebody who's not a character actor into a character part because that was just like who they had on contract.
Right.
And then, they started using real people for real parts. And it became a lot more open and I think a lot more real in many respects. Mm-hmm. But man, there's a lot of trust there. In this business, there's a lot of trust that people are going to know how to do something.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting you said that because, and it never really occurred to me until now, but you think of any major theater program, and they put you through the ringer. They make you do, whether or not you have ever any interest in doing, let's say, musical theater, they will make sure you have to take a dance class, and you have to take a music class and a voice class, and you do that, and it's part of the requirements for graduating.
Right.
And if you think about it, that's probably a remnant of the old studio system days where a studio might have a contract with, 50 different actors, and that's the only ones they used. And you're right. They just wanted to make sure if they plug Bill into that role that he can do it, whether it's a singing, dancing role or an acting role or a voice role or whatever.
And it was like a school. I mean, there's a great documentary out there, and this is kind of a plug for this documentary, but it's also we worked on the audio for this documentary. It's called Casting By. It was on HBO.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic. It's about Marion Doherty, incredibly important casting director. Casting directors are amazing people in general. They're just really, I
don't think they get their due.
Yeah. In a lot of respects. But both commercially and in the movie and TV world.
Sure.
But so it's about Marion Doherty and how she sort of changed or led the sort of charge, sort of out of the studio system and into this idea of hiring people who are the person, luckily for a lot of us, who basically is the guy who works at the news stand or whatever.
Right.
It's like, or at least the types, not literally the guy who worked the newsstand.
No, but it is interesting what you're saying because if that same mindset was today with the studio system, you might have like Tom Cruise as the janitor, and Brad Pitt as the guy who works in the cafeteria,
right,
and Julia Roberts as the old woman. And
you put the makeup on them, or like Joel Grey playing an Asian guy.
It's like Buckaroo Banzai.
Exactly. It's so bizarre, this idea of these actors who are very talented actors, obviously.
Yeah, that's not the question. It's appropriateness for different roles.
Exactly. Yeah. But it's like she would go out and she'd find these actors who were like going through different techniques and just really raw in many respects and putting and saying, hey, you look like the guy who would work at the newsstand, so you'll be the newsstand guy. And it's like, and they looked all of a sudden so real. All of a sudden it blew up because these people looked like they weren't the pretty person who was being, shoehorned into a role. They were like, And
I guess that's what gives you something like, Robert De Niro and Pacino in those tough, gritty roles. And that would have been played by, Henry Fonda, and it would be really a stretch.
Exactly. And it's like, and not to say that these, I think, ultimately, actors, if you're trained in and you have a passion for it in many respects, you can handle a lot of different roles. There's a lot that you can do, but there's also an aspect of reality that comes through when you hire someone who's a little outside of the norm. And anytime that happens, it's always an interesting thing.
Well, it's what gives me hope in my career.
Yeah, right. Seriously,
I have to be into people like that. Are you kidding? Right. It's like, bless them.
Right.
Bless them for forging, blazing the trail for me.
Exactly. It definitely, and especially now, it feels like, I don't know if you felt this, but I was just talking to somebody about this lately. So many things feel so celebrity driven. And obviously there's very talented celebrities out there. There are celebrities for a reason. But it almost feels like another version of that studio system in the sense that like you've got these celebrities who are the trusted sort of like go-to, this is how you're going to bring box office in.
Yeah.
And then you've got the sort of non-union world. And it's like, and so you've got like sort of like two sides. It's either a celebrity or like, or we're just going to go completely non-union production. And it's like, just whoever off the street.
And you're talking, this is really something that's going on in commercials.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
In a big way.
Yeah. We're seeing people who have had, decades-long careers in doing TV and film, now doing roles, not doing commercials. And it's not like they're doing commercials as themselves endorsing a product, because that's a whole different conversation.
Right.
But you've got people who are taking like actual acting roles in commercials.
Seriously.
And it's weird.
It's a bizarre thing.
Yeah.
It's a really bizarre thing. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Ultimately, I think there's so much, and I'm also feeling myself as an actor like going into television more because I feel like the commercial world has moved into such a either celebrity or sort of like this like whoever we can get off the street type situation.
Right.
like I almost feel like television has more opportunity now all of a sudden, which it used to be commercials had the opportunity, right? Commercials were the opportunity for, guys like us to kind of, go out and just get some work and get some,
have some income.
Have some income, put some food on our plate.
Right.
Pay the rent and like, try to do something else.
Try to get bigger roles on TV
and now it feels like almost TV is where they're starting to kind of try out people like us, like to fill in some of the smaller parts.
It is interesting you say that. Now, okay, so I want to get back to that point that you just talked about.
Great.
But let's go back. So you're in Indiana.
Yeah, growing up.
You grew up there. Was that? Did you move at all, or was it all just in one spot?
Indiana and like the sort of suburbs of Chicago.
Okay.
My family, my parents met at Purdue University, so I grew up in mostly Lafayette, Indiana. Although I come from like a farming family in central Indiana, like Martinsville area. Spent a lot of my childhood on a farm. Was one of those people who like learned how to drive at 12 on a tractor. Like that weirdly. That seems so far
cool
away
stuff.
in a weird way. But and then sort of my adolescence was suburbs of Chicago, and western suburbs of Chicago, like such a great place to sort of grow up because it was kind of metropolitan in that sort of like cool, like sort of like, oh my gosh, what could a city be like? That kind of a thing, and it was so different from the sort of rural upbringing I had when I was a kid, and it was interesting. I had kind of always felt like I wanted to go. New York City was something that I wanted to do. I had
as an actor or just whatever.
I mean, when I was a kid, I wasn't 100% sure what an actor was. I just wanted to be Han Solo.
Okay. A lot of us did.
I know, exactly. And then my mother explained to me what that was, and I was like, okay, then I want to be the guy who plays Han Solo, and I didn't realize that part was already cast, I guess. And
little did you know.
Little did I know
that J.J. Abrams would be coming around looking for a brand new. Anyway, go on.
Seriously. I, at a very young age, decided that I wanted to move someplace metropolitan. Initially, it was Chicago, because I lived so close to there. But then, like, New York became this like draw to me. And I moved here when I hadn't even turned 19 yet.
Wow.
I was 18 when I moved here, and it was a big change.
I mean, for a rural farm boy, even with exposure to Chicago,
right.
New York is a big deal.
Yeah, I've been here for 24 years now, almost. I mean, it's like, we're talking a long time. And when I first came here, this is before I moved here, but when I first flew in to, I think, LaGuardia, I was looking at the skyline, and I thought that New York and Manhattan were two separate cities. and so like, how there's that, like, sort of financial district, like really high area, and then there's like the midtown, like, World Trade, Empire State Building area.
Yep.
And so those two areas were like the two. I thought, okay, so which one? I think I said to the woman in the seat next to me, so which one is Manhattan and which one's New York City?
Wow, I will fully admit that growing up on Long Island, I got confused. I didn't know where the heck the Bronx was. I didn't know Brooklyn was attached to the actual island that we called Long Island. I was really confused.
It is confusing. I mean, it's
is.
like this, and the full 5 boroughs thing is part of the one city, and it's like, it's a tremendous history. But yeah, no, I coming from the Midwest, there's a lot you'd really just don't realize about New York City.
I'm fascinated when people come here from anywhere, really. Yeah. And I've said this to somebody, I think I may have actually said this to somebody else who I talked to for this podcast, but, the only comparable thing to me, to somebody coming to New York from anywhere else, is me going to Tokyo.
Yeah, seriously.
Because the scope is just huge.
Right.
And did you come here to, what brought you here? What was the destination when you got here?
The American Musical and Dramatic Academy.
Okay, so that,
Well, actually, I'm sorry. Jeez, oh wow, this goes way back, and this is actually in the memory banks that I didn't even realize it was there until just a second ago. This camp called Beginnings. I was might have been 17 at this time, and I had auditioned in Chicago for this thing, and it was this camp that had basically Ricky Schroeder had gone to this camp,
Okay,
and gone onto Silver Spoons, and and
I think those are the things.
Look
that
at him now.
Yeah. Well, he's a hanger-on, man. He's stuck it through.
Yeah,
a lot of guys in his position.
He definitely has. But when I was a kid, it was he was oh my God, look where he went. And it was this camp called Beginnings, and so you got to go to this thing, and it was a full-on camp. It was a full-on sleepaway camp, and you went and you for a week and a half, 2 weeks, you did monologues, you did stage combat, you did movement, you did all this stuff, and then at the end it was literally a showcase on the West Side, in a black box for casting directors.
Wow. Where was
all
the camp?
ages. It was in New Jersey somewhere, I think. And
this sounds vaguely familiar,
dude. It was actually a really incredible experience.
I'm sure it was.
I am going to tell you something. There's actually someone who recognized me from that camp when I finally moved here, and I was working in the business for years. His name is Barry Shapiro, and that guy is...
Yeah, I know.
Barry is awesome.
He is.
And he recognized me from that camp. He was like, Sean, I think I know you from somewhere. Did you go to this Beginnings camp? And I can't remember the guy who ran the camp, but I was like, oh my God.
That's
How
amazing.
would you remember that? And he remembered. He absolutely remembered. He is one of those people who just again, casting directors, right? It's
exactly.
They know what they're doing. It's they remember people. They know where they met them. They know what they do. They're good at just they trust actors.
Mm-hmm.
It's they're just good people. And so it's years later, he recognized me from this thing.
That's
and it was
very
this
cool.
Random little showcase that I did. And nothing came of anything from that showcase, but
except Barry Shapiro remembered you.
Exactly. And I did come to New York eventually.
Right.
It did give me that taste of New York City where I just had to be here.
And so you went to the Academy of Dramatic Arts.
Yeah, the American Musical and Dramatic Academy.
Sorry.
Yes.
I get them all these.
It's okay.
There's all those acronyms.
I know, right? It's AMDA. I went to AMDA. And I came here and basically just kept going. I kept going. It's there's something about this business, about any business, anything that you love. It's just keep going.
Yeah.
Right? It's
it's that point where you're
at
if you just kind of put your head down and keep going.
Yeah.
Things invariably can happen.
Right.
Not necessarily guarantee that they will happen, but
I mean, it's at a certain point, it's if you love something and you stick with it. It's I'm not going to say you're going to be Tom Cruise or a Tom Hanks or anybody else with a freaking explosive name, but you're going to work.
Right.
It's and I think, in some respects, we're both testaments to that. It's you work often, right? I mean,
it's funny. It's one of those phrases that's always so funny to me, and I'm sure you understand this.
Yeah.
Where it's people are like, you're always working. And I'm like, I'm not working nearly as much as I want to be working. I want to be working 24/7 if possible. No, yeah. And then take a 3-month vacation.
Sure. I never have to take a vacation. That's the amazing thing about this business is that when you're in it, when you're doing a 15-hour day or a 16-hour day on a film or or a commercial or anything, it's you just love it.
Yeah. No, none of it feels like work.
None of it feels like work. And sometimes you meet those people who aren't going to be in it for very long because they'll be on a set and they'll be like, God, we never work. It's
yeah, what are you kidding me?
Exactly.
Are you insane?
They're so upset that they're waiting, and I'm like, you're getting paid to wait.
Yeah, they're looking at they're looking at their watch they got somewhere else to be.
Exactly.
Come on,
exactly.
Come on.
It's amazing to me. It's that's something where I feel if you graduated from any or ever even not even graduated, but ever gone to any kind of film school. You should know that it's mostly waiting.
Oh, yeah.
It's mostly not acting.
And
it's
beauty
mostly
of it,
sitting
yes.
and preparing. This is what you should be doing, either preparing or getting to know your co-star.
Exactly. I mean,
the people you're acting with, right? It's
even from a pure business standpoint, you have the opportunity to be networking with so many people the whole time.
And here's what I will say, and just a caveat to that, and I know you didn't mean it this way. The opportunity to be meeting people who will enrich your life.
Yes.
And you as a person. Because, it's so funny. It's like I use the word networking too. And then I realized how loaded sometimes that word is.
I understand that, yeah.
And it's like, and it bothers me when people use it in that worded way. It's like, oh, I'm going to go network with some people. It's like, I feel like networking is an important thing, but people have to understand that networking it's getting to know people. It's getting to know the business. It's getting to know things about the thing that you love, and enriching yourself by making new friends or making, that's what networking really is about. It's really about, making, improving upon yourself and helping people improve upon themselves in a way that is mutually beneficial to everybody.
Yes.
And improves the network. Right. It makes the network stronger, and it makes exactly.
It's like what communities used to be.
Right. Exactly.
Villages used to kind of do that.
Communitizing. That's what we should call. We should rename
communitizing. From this point forward, when you start making connections in the business, think of it as communitizing,
exactly.
And then make sure you send $5 to Sean Kenin or Sean alias Reyes
or Dave T. Koenig.
Or Dave T. Koenig. I'll give $250 to Sean.
Actually, you know what? Just give $5 to this podcast so that it can keep going. And
put it in the tip jar. And yes, right. All right. So you came and you went to AMDA, and somewhere after that, you got to start in the business. What got you actually started in getting out there and working and at least auditioning, or how did you want? And if I'm thinking the timeline here. This was when you finished at AMDA. Was what year?
92.
92, which was a different world,
a completely different world. And I didn't work in this business in any real capacity. I feel. I mean, everything you do that is acting in general, whether it's like children's theater, which I did for a long time. I worked at the Jekyll and Hyde Club for many, many years. It's still going. It's here in Times Square. There's a lot of actors who go there now and get their first start.
Ton of people go. Yeah.
It's like, or whether it's stand-up or whatever it is, it's like, I feel like when I got my start in this business is when I started working as a voiceover actor. When I started making, I think we can all say, when I started making the bulk of my income as an actor. And I stopped choosing other things to make my income.
Yeah.
Ultimately.
Yes.
And I think it's a huge step. And I think however that happens is an incredible time. But I think that for me, that didn't happen until I want to say 2005.
It
2004, 2005. And I was working, I was doing children's theater. Like I said, I was working at the Jekyll and Hyde Club. I was doing these little things here and there that were getting me networked, having
you were laying the foundation for what would be your career, but you didn't necessarily feel like, okay, this is viably what I can call my profession.
And I think in some ways I was also floundering in some respects because it's like I am one of those people who I enjoy so much about this business and wish I could do so much in this business, right? And I used to be a dancer. I used to dance. I used to sing.
What kind of dancing?
Ago. Well, I mean, I grew up in the Midwest. I was at a dance studio. I took ballet. I took tap.
Really?
I took jazz. I took all that, and I came to New York to do musical theater.
Okay.
Ultimately,
that was your goal.
Yeah. Well, I mean. Yeah, ultimately that was my goal. I fell in love with acting because of movies, but then when I saw a few musicals, I fell in love with musicals.
Do you remember the first one that you saw that you're like, that's the thing right there?
Oh wow, I think I saw Big River in Chicago.
Oh, okay.
At a production, we went with my school, and it was a production of Big River at a really good. A regional theater in Chicago. And it was so inspiring. It's so amazing. I think it was in the round. I want to say it was one of those theaters where you around the entire production.
Right.
And they were just so good. It's so funny. Theater can be so inspiring to a young artist and a young actor. And it's something that I think people, obviously it's very entertaining, and obviously what I love about theater and television and film and this medium in general is just how much it can, teach people something about themselves or teach people something about the world or that kind of a thing, and give them an experience that's entertaining and fun.
Mm-hmm.
But when someone is like experiencing it and feeling like, oh my God, I want to tell this story. I want to be part of this story. I want to share this story with the world.
Mm-hmm.
That is such an amazing thing to me.
It's pretty powerful.
Watching a young person experience theater and just be so attached to it and so like into it is an incredible thing. And it goes way beyond being entertained.
Mm-hmm.
It goes way beyond being.
Yeah, I remember times. I remember definitely. I mean, for me, I think when I was in school, and again, I grew up on Long Island, and so we were coming into the city. I was seeing Broadway shows when we took trips from school.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah. But the theater program at my school exposed me to a lot of stuff, and one of the things they exposed me to was Chicago City Limits, which is short form improv, and that was like. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh God.
And it's just like those moments where when you're young and you have something that you see that just, whether it's theater or sports or something, science or math, whatever it is, whatever this lights you up like that, there's I think you search the rest of your life wanting that same kind of thing to hit you like that.
Yeah, no, it's so important. And so much education. I mean, you have kids, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I know you have kids. I'm like, oh, you have kids, right? Like I'm talking to an audience.
Yeah.
So let me share with the audience that David has kids.
Yes, I have.
I have kids as well.
Yes.
But so much education is so centered around, teaching.
Mm-hmm.
And teaching is absolutely an important thing, but it's like teaching has become this regulated, regimented thing. And I think there should be standards for everything. I think there should absolutely be at least a baseline standard for everything, right?
Right.
But so much of it is fear-based about people losing their jobs or all this stuff that I feel like so much of it doesn't allow for people to discover.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what it should be about, right?
Yeah, I think I know exactly what you're saying.
It's this discovery, right? Life is a discovery. Life is oh my God, that thing is amazing. I want to know more about that.
Right.
And I wouldn't have known about that if I was sitting, writing this sentence 100 times so that I did it correctly, right? Or so the information was etched in my brain somewhere.
I think teachers call that teaching to the test rather than teaching to educate or teaching to inspire or enlighten.
Right. And I think so many teachers are want to enlighten or want to inspire, and that's why they become teachers. And then they're told in the moment, this is what you have to do.
It's a rough gig. It really is. I mean, I feel for them, and I wish we had a better system for it because, what's more important than being educated? What's more important than learning, especially when you're young? Is and thankfully so far, my kids are a little bit younger than yours are. At least in environments where they are learning the stuff they need to learn, and they're having fun, and they're enjoying it, and they're hungry for more. And I just you hear horror stories about when they get to an older grade level, and they're in high school or junior high or whatever, and it's it's not about learning anymore.
I think almost that might be a New Jersey, New York divide, because my kids are already cynical about school.
Oh, are they really?
It is all we can do, my wife and I, to kind of get them to be inspired about discovering something or finding something. For the most part, school is a slog.
Interesting.
These tests. My God. Well, first of all, my daughter is going into middle school, and she had to have. Some schools ask for portfolios.
What?
There will be.
Well, you're in New York City schools.
I know, exactly.
So...
That's what I'm saying. And
wow.
So there's interviews, portfolios, and it's just. And I'm so I'm seeing I'm trying to see the silver lining as much as I can. There's part of me that's going, okay, and at least my daughter, when she applies for a college, will have been through this twice already. You know?
I can't even imagine that. I mean, I could not even fathom the idea.
Telling a 10, turning 11-year-old child, okay, so what have you done over the past few years?
Yeah.
Show me your portfolio.
Yeah, like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I see myself being 15 and still not ready for this question.
Right, exactly.
What is wrong with people?
It's unbelievable, and so yeah, there's a lot, man. There's so much, and I feel like I feel like, you know, I had such a great opportunity as a kid to just kind of figure things out, and I figured things out very young, as I think a lot of actors do. I think a lot of actors.
I think there's a common thread there.
Yeah. I think pretty young you discover that, like, you want to tell stories.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That you're inspired to change or be someone either different or improve who you are in a way because you learned something from something you watched, right?
Yeah.
And so I think I think that a lot of actors get that very young, and so I was very lucky to kind of get that. I feel very lucky to have gotten that at a really young age, but had the opportunity to discover it at a really young age. And I feel like right now, like, you know, I feel like, you know, sometimes I'm battling two things, and that's one, getting my kids to, you know, do well on these tests, these state standardized tests, but also, like, as much as we're, like, fighting about, like, how much there should be, you know, how much homework needs to get done each night and how much we need to be studying for the test and how much we have to be doing all this, also just trying to get them outside and just be like, look at that sky, look at that, you know, like, look at that sunset, look at this, listen to that. Isn't life amazing?
Yeah.
And I feel like
it's a struggle. It's a challenge, but I think that's part of what we either intentionally or unintentionally signed up for,
right?
And it's what we're challenged to do on a regular basis.
Yeah.
All right. I didn't expect us to go into a thing about education.
I go off on tangents,
but that's beautiful.
I'm going to tell you this right now. 45 minutes in, I go off on tangents. So if this ends up being 4.5 hours,
I think as we're talking there, I'm thinking to myself, this is my first two-parter. You know, okay. I think we've already gone into guaranteed for a two-parter with Sean Kenin,
Jesus,
which is fine. You know, I'm excited. I'm actually jazzed because we're gonna keep talking and
but keep listening because we cure cancer at the end.
I think that's a very good incentive for, like, getting people to listen to part 2 next week.
Exactly.
All right. So for now, we're gonna end on this education discussion, and then next week we'll pick it up with you coming out of AMDA and working in children's theater.
Right.
Well, there you go. Part 1 of my interview with Sean Kenin, good guy, and we will have part 2 next week where we will get into his more recent work, like working with Smurfs and something he's got coming up in the fall on Fox. That's a little bit of a teaser for you in 2 ways, actually. In the meantime, you can read up on Sean at SeanKenin.com, SeanKenin.com. Learn more about Hyperbolic Audio at hyperbolicaudio.com, and find Sean on Twitter at Sean Kenin. That about does it for another week of Bring Your Own Lunch. Glad you can join us. Thank you so much. Don't forget about banuba.net. Go look for them. Find out where they will be and find out how you can download their music and be part of the Banuba experience. The New York Short Film Shootout coming up August 25th, Monday night at 8 p.m. That's coming up real soon. Get your film in. Find out how to do so at nysfso.com. And this theater.com, you can go check out all the information about the theater where the New York Short Film Shootout will take place. And one more plug there for the Handsome Genius Club, handsomegeniusclub.com, hosted by Anthony Rutgazer. That'll be coming back probably now already or at some point in the very, very near future, so go check that out. As for us, don't forget to find us on Facebook. Just look for Bring Your Own Lunch. You can follow us on Twitter at BYOL Podcast. And, of course, if you want to send us any kind of email or anything like that, you can find out all that information at bringyourownlunch.com. Don't forget to stay tuned for the Jimmy Jack Cow Punch Hour, followed by Mansoor and the Fish. And until next week, and probably sometime thereafter, this is Dave. I will see you next Tuesday.